episode of Notoriously Opinionated. It's your man, Scrap the Film Guru, here with another show. And man, my my like theme song for tonight's show should have been it's going down tonight. It's going down. So um from just going over the comments in my reels and just the comments on the page on my YouTube channel. Uh, what it seems like everybody is wanting to hear about are what are sundown towns. Because I touched on sundown towns and things like that, and like the Black Massacre cities. There's been interest as to what were the Black Massacre cities, and so that's one of the things I plan to get into tonight. But here's the one thing that I really need to emphasize in the outset, right? Uh, um, I'm glad that people like ask the question, like, what are sundown towns? What are I've never heard of a sundown town. Like I got a documentary that I'm editing right now that I shot like 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. I got this footage, and it's talking about the racist state of Missouri and how racist Missouri has been and in some parts still are. Like a lot of Missourians, a lot of Kansas Cityans don't know that Missouri was part of the Confederacy. It was a Confederate state. So yeah, it was like that, and that's why Kansas and Missouri was banging like that. See, a lot of uneducated individuals feel like this Kansas Missouri beef started during the gang era. It did not. This is going back to slavery, you know, with the Independence Boys and the Jayhawkers. So if you want to know more about that history, let me know. I do a deeper dive into that. But yeah, the beef between Kansas and Missouri goes back. Most of these beefs that's going on between certain cities and certain states goes back to antebellum days. This isn't anything that's going on. It's not modern. It's not current. It hasn't just happened in the last 20, 30 years, 40 years. No, it goes back way before that. But like I said, I'm glad people is asking the questions. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a saying in Kiswahili, kuuliza si ujinga, right? Kuuliza si ujinga, which means to ask is not stupidity. You're not stupid for asking intelligent questions, or you're not stupid for trying to quell your ignorance. Stupid people are dangerous. Let me start right there. Stupid people are dangerous. I'm liable to do a whole show one day just on the ferocious dangerousness of stupid people, right? Like people ask me all the time, it's like, man, uh what did you take anger management? Yeah, I took it 4 times. Yeah, but I don't need anger management. I need to know how to deal with stupid people. Then I'd be okay. But I'm controlling me. Anyway, so yeah, there was a quote by Neely Fuller that I need to really emphasize. Neely Fuller said, if you do not understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it functions, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you. Let me repeat that for the people in the back. Uh, if you do not understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it functions. Everything you think you understand will only confuse you, right? That go for white people too. You know what I'm saying? I was watching something. It was this it was a it was TikTok, matter of fact. It was TikTok. It was this white chick on TikTok that was talking about how she didn't understand uh racism and why black people kept saying that her town was racist. She lives in a sundown town. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just come to my town, you'll see that I've never seen racism. Of course you haven't. Of course you haven't. So let me pause right there. So point number one of tonight's show is going to, tonight's show is sponsored by perspective and how perspective can shape how you see a thing. So if you are sitting, if all of your senses other than sight go away, and somebody puts you 4 to 6 inches away from an elephant, right? And another person is 100 feet away from the elephant. Who's got the better perspective of who or of what the person that's 6 inches is standing in front of? The person that's actually 6 inches in front of it, or the person that's 100 feet away? I'll wait. Time's up. It's the person that's 100 feet away that got the better perspective. If you're 6 inches in front of whatever it is, no, you don't see it. You're too close to it. You can't see racism and white supremacy. You're too close to it. So of course you can't see it. But to invite black people to a sundown town to show them that it's not racist and a sundown town is crazy talk. And then she goes on to say, but I'm a white Christian woman. You know what? Newsflash. You, not me, not dudes that look like this, not dudes that wear blue or red or black or yep, not gang members, not drug dealers, not none of that. You, historically, white Christian women are the most dangerous person on this planet. You done got more people killed than a little bit. White Christian women, you know, in the South, done got Emmett Till killed, done got, don't make me go down the list. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause for real, that's a cop out. You know, you don't like you. I'm not gonna go there right now. I'm not gonna go there right now. And mind you, I'm not talking about all white people. I'm not talking about all white Christian women. I'm talking about, y'all know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Those of you who cry your white tears to get your way when you know you're wrong. The ones that I'm talking about were the ones that laws were written for because you decided that you was going to beat black children to death. That's who I'm talking about. If you fit that criteria, I'm talking about you. They made whole laws. What was it called? Like the incidental or accidental killing act or something like that. Hold on. It was called the incidental constant. It was something about, it was an act to where if a slave was killed by a white person, then it was a justifiable murder. It was deemed justifiable homicide if a white person, ended up killing a slave. Who was that law written for? White women, because they were beating black children, black babies to death. Look it up. Don't believe nothing I say. Don't believe nothing I say. Look it up. Anyway, yeah, but perspective changes everything. And so we are going to get into some things tonight, and hopefully you walk away having understood better than you understand now, and and we can start growing tonight on Notoriously Opinionated. All right. Number one, tell me if you can still hear me. Let's start right there, because I ain't trying to have them same problems that I was having last week. I don't know if putting the earbuds in, not the earbuds, the headphones in, change everything that's going on. So hit me in the chat if you cannot hear me, hit the chat and let me know that you can hear me, so I can figure it out. But so, all right, sundown towns. Sundown towns have been a part of um, the history of this nation for quite some time, you know. And what I did not understand is that all of them did not go away. You know what I'm saying? Like the the post slavery, post Jim Crow, post Black Law eras, you know, where you know thought it was not. They were not all gone. They were still here. They were alive, kicking and thriving. And those that did not have suntan, so they're calling it something different now. So they're not calling them sundown towns. They're not even gonna be official uh uh all white cities, you know what I'm saying? Because like there's this thing called uh what's it called? Oh yeah, the Constitution. That kind of prohibits all that. You know what I'm saying? Uh Little document that y'all people came up with, you know what I'm saying? Uh but they eventually ended up adding that, you know, you can't just have all white cities. That's kind of discriminatory. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not a really good thing. But so the first I heard of these all white communities is pretty much what started this whole line of discussion, right? And it was this white guy that was saying that it was a white guy talking about how he didn't understand why black people were so upset that that white people were trying to come up with their own communities, and that white people would be happy if black people came up with their own thriving community. Au contraire, mon frere. Uh, let me direct you. Let me direct you to this map. Let's do a screen share. Allow me to direct you to this map. This is a map of uh some of, not all of, some of the black massacres, right? Chicago, Illinois, 1919. Springfield, Illinois, 1908. East St. Louis, Illinois, 1917. Memphis, Elaine, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Vicksburg, Slocum, Colfax. I can't pronounce them two in Louisiana, but them. 1887, 1868, 1866 in New Orleans, 1868 St. Bernard Parish, Rosewood, famous. Atlanta, Georgia. Then you got uh, Rosewood in Florida, Ocoee in Florida. Uh, man, goes up to Charleston and Philly and New York and Detroit. Uh, so it's not that we haven't tried. it's it's not for a lack of effort, is what I'm saying. So to say, well, we wouldn't have a problem with you having an all, but yeah, you know what? You're until it starts thriving. If the all black area is a ghetto, nah, you don't got no problem with that. If an all black area is murderous and all we're doing is killing each other, nah, you don't got a problem with that. If the all black area is full of crime, it's full of mayhem, it's full of strife and suffering, you have no problem with that whatsoever. But let that black dollar start to rotate 7 days, 14 days, 21 days, 28 days, a month, 2 months. Let that dollar circulate. See, when they start talking about the money, that's when everything changes. You know what I'm saying? Now you got a problem with it. That's why you had a problem with Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's why you had a problem with Black Wall Street. That's why you had a problem with all of the Black Wall Streets that were on that list. They started to thrive. That is the part you can't stand. That is the part. Hey, little girl, I'm talking about something serious. If you don't leave me alone, it was a last second decision. I was, and it goes with another outfit. Anyway, um, so like I was saying, so he threw me off. He threw me all the way off. I was on a roll. I was on a roll. So where was I at? The oh yeah, the black cities that were prosperous that you destroyed. That's right. So when you have these, what are they called? R RTT. When you have these RTTLers, which stands for Return to the Land, right? Which is so comical. Like, it's comical to me. Y'all might not see the humor in it. Y'all might not see the comedy in it, but it's comical to me because that is how the mentality of these white folks is. And it translated to the whole United States. Like, the United States got this overblown identity crisis for itself. It's like we're the best at everything, even when we're not. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're the smartest is in the 30s or 40s in education. We're the best. Like the United even in our sports events, right? We call ourselves, if you win the if you win the championship series in baseball, you are the World Series champions. You didn't play the world. When you win a championship in sports in the United States, you are considered a world champion. Why? Because they feel like they're the best in the world, that the best baseball players and basketball players and football players all play, but you didn't play everybody in the world. You didn't play the world. You played everybody here with you. How are you a world champion? But that's the mentality of it. The mentality is, if we win this, we the best in the world, and that translates to other things. We're the like I said, we're the best in education. No, we're not. We're so not. You know what I'm saying? And and even the ones that have been the best at something, you know, get their credit taken. You know, like I was talking about over the last couple of weeks, the student that thought that Edison invented the traffic light because that's what his little school books told him. You know, well, history, it has been rewritten to take black people out of it, and it's continuing to be rewritten. It's not even, matter of fact, they're not even trying to rewrite it no more. It's like that takes too much time. We're just gonna take the whole book out. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna take this book out that has history in it, because I don't like the whole term black history. There's no such thing as black history. There's no such thing. There's history, you know, and black people are a huge part of it. Like, there's no such thing as black history. You know, I don't have a problem with necessarily with quote unquote Black History Month, but the fact that we have to call it Black History Month is what irritates me, because it should just be history. It shouldn't be it shouldn't be a standout thing, but it has to be a standout thing, because if we don't make it stand out, if we don't make it Black history, then it'll get ignored. You know, it's like, it goes back to the whole Black Lives Matter movement. You know, if if we don't uh if we don't say how Black Lives Matter, then you won't notice it or care. You know, you just won't. There won't be um there won't be anything discussed, you know, if we don't specify that Black Lives Matter. All right. So anyway, back to sundown towns, because it's something else that I'm trying to get to. All right. Um, Let me share my screen again. Sundown towns. Sundown policies enforce the exclusion of Black people and other minorities from specific communities, typically by prohibiting them from being in town after dark. They literally had signs telling Black people to be out of the town by sundown. That's where the term sundown town came from, because if you were not white, if you were Black, and nowadays, if you are Latino or part of the uh, this lot of letters, LBGTQ community, then you better be out of town in these sundown towns before the sun goes down. I seen a video where it was one brother. I don't know how real this was, right? I don't know. It might have been AI, but it looked real, right? He was in a city. I don't know. I ain't gonna say I don't know. I don't recall where he said he was, but it was a lady that told him, "Hey, you need to get out. You need to get out of town," right? And then he was standing in front of a tree, and she was like, that's a nice tree. And he looked back, he was like, really? And she said something else crazy, insinuating that he could be hanging from it, you know. But yeah, anyway. Typically, and these policies were maintained through a combination of explicit laws, restrictive housing covenants, intimidation, and overt violence. Their existence was enabled by a societal consensus of racial exclusion, local law enforcement complicity, widespread social fear, and the refusal to integrate communities, often encoded by threats of arrest, beatings, or even death for non-compliance. What does that say? That the local, city, and state government, law enforcement were all complicit in creating and helping to maintain these sundown towns. It wasn't just some group of white people that got together and said black people couldn't go and be a part of this town anymore. It was actually it was actually uh, enforced by law enforcement, right? So that's part of the history of these sundown towns. So the laws and ordinances, some towns had explicit ordinances stating that black people and other minorities were not allowed to reside in or enter the town after dark. Why? You're gonna wind up dead. They were gonna find you somewhere, right? You were gonna you were There's gonna be the lost and found. You were gonna be lost, then you would be found, right? So that leads me to my next story, which is um, who has heard of a brother named Jelani Day? Jelani Day was a promising college student whose life was cut short, and it was a tragic story of um, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, and how again it seems like local officials are helping to cover things up. So the story of Jelani Day pretty much goes like this. Let me do this again. Boom. Jelani Day's body was found in the Illinois River near Peru, Illinois, after he was reported missing from Illinois State University in Bloomington. All right, let's stop right there. The little brother stayed. He did not stay in Peru, Illinois. Peru, Illinois has been a sundown town for quite some time. Uh, it says that the LaSalle County coroner ruled his death a drowning, but the manner of death, homicide, suicide, or accident, remains undetermined. Now, here's the problem with that. Um, Let me dispel this rumor, because it's a lot of people that's on social media that are just reporting what other people have said, what they've seen on social media, but they haven't researched it themselves to realize or to state whether it's true or whether it's not. Uh, it was said that he was found naked and that his organs were missing. That is not true, per his mother. His mother did not say, actually, his mother actually specifically said that his organs were not missing. What happened was, during the second autopsy, during the first autopsy, I'm sorry, during the first autopsy, the ones who were performing the autopsy probably moved his or removed his organs to see if there was any trauma, right? So that's pretty much what that was. Um, and so during the second autopsy, it was stated that his organs were missing. They were not. Um, it was also stated that he was found naked upon uh, upon the discovery of his body. That also was not true. He was his clothes were separated from him, but he was not completely naked. He had on his tank top, boxers, but what caused the concern of his parents was that his shoes and other things were by the riverbank. He was found in the car in the river, in the Illinois River, right? So if it was what they tried to say was a suicide, it was widely spread that it was a suicide. How? If if part of his clothes is on his person and the other part of his clothes is on the river bank, so he just decided to take off his clothes, like that doesn't, that just don't make sense. That, you know, the math ain't mathing on that one. The math ain't mathing. So I'm not understanding how half of his clothes was on this person while the other half of his clothes uh was on the riverbank. That don't make sense. Uh Jelani Day at the was a graduate student at the Illinois State University, and he was reported missing August 25th, 2021. His vehicle was found in Peru, Illinois, which they said was like 60 miles away from the college that he went to, on August 26, 2021. His body was recovered from the Illinois River near Peru on September 4th, 2021. And the coroner in LaSalle County said that the cause of death was drowning. Really? Drowning. So I don't know, because again, the thing about him killing himself, like that was the prominent things, that he killed himself, and that just, this just, the math ain't mathing. Let's just say it like that. The math is not mathing on this one. So um yeah, but it was, now now while this was going on, you know, uh and there was very little, like, that was in 2021. It's 2025, but we just now talking about this. I'm just now hearing about this. Like, I don't remember into, and I'm up on stuff like that, and I don't remember that. You know, I don't recall, because I would have talked about it before now. I would have talked about it before now. So um yeah, the the atrocities are real, and it does not necessarily matter um what they say about it. And the whole thing is going back to how these sundown towns are allowed to thrive. It's like the historical elements that plague us to this day are banding together like the Legion of freaking Doom. You know what I'm saying? So you got the ones that were making the laws, allowing them to do this. Then you got the ones that were enforcing the laws, that were part of the blame, you know, and then everybody was just complicit, you know. So it was this one little brother in Florida. He was like, "Man, it's the police. If you in the South, if you're in Florida, if you're in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, if you're in any of those, and it's a lot of cities in Texas, they said if you in Abilene, Waco, some of those towns in Texas, bruh, don't go through there and stop and get no gas after dark, you know, because they was like, here's how they get you. The police is gonna pull you over. And they like, bro, if you get handcuffed, it's a wrap. If you let them cuff you, it's a wrap. Nobody's ever gonna see you again, right? Because they, to us in cities, and I'm in Kansas City, so in cities like Kansas City, again, perspective, sponsor of the show, sponsor of the show, perspective from someone who is in Kansas City is different than somebody that's in Macon, Georgia, or yeah, for somebody that's in Mississippi, for somebody that's in Florida or Alabama. It's different, you know. While Missouri was a Confederate state, and while there are spots in Missouri, Springfield, Illinois, Springfield, Missouri, while there are spots like Springfield, Missouri that are, part of this whole return to the land crap coming up from Arkansas, which is where it originated in the Ozarks in Arkansas, and they're trying to come up and, pull Springfield, Missouri into it, which has its own past and current racist history. It's different here in Kansas City. Is there racism in Kansas City? Yeah, it is. It's everywhere, but it's not as rampant as it is in Florida. So he was saying, bro, if you get cuffed down here, it's a wrap. So you got the slave catchers, which is what the police originally were. Let's not forget that. The modern day police who are enforcing the laws were originally only tasked to enforce one: protect the property of the slave owner. What was the property of the slave owner? The slave. The slave. That was the property of the slave owner that the slave catchers, who would become the police department, were tasked to enforce. That was the law that they needed to enforce. They were law enforcement. The law that they had to enforce the most was going and recovering my runaway property, because it was chattel slavery. Slaves were not people. Even in the Constitution, 3/5 of a person. Not. And it was even somebody that got in my comments that was talking about you need to be. It was this dude that said you need to be mad at your people for you need to be mad at your people for selling your people into slavery. To where my response was, in no universe did they believe that what was going to happen would happen. Like, slavery, other than chattel slavery, was basically, especially in those times, was basically prisoners of war just being moved around. Like, there was nothing like chattel slavery. Chattel slavery, you weren't a person, and so there was no treating you humanely. When you can put a black man on 4 horses and hit them all at one time, pop, and watch that man's body split apart. That's not humane. You know, that wasn't happening in other forms of slavery. That wasn't happening when white people were enslaved. That's not how it went down. Were there beatings? Yeah, but it wasn't that. You know, like everything was taken away from these ancestors. Their name, their identity, their culture, their religion, their everything. You know, and that's how it ended up going down. So um, you had these slave catchers that were tasked with bringing back the property of of the slave master, and and now now they are trying to coordinate with then not now at that time they would have coordinated with city and local government to create ordinances that um, that upheld what they were doing. Nowadays, in modern times, it's not going to be official because the city of Springfield, Missouri did not go for the return to the land thing to where you can have your own official white town. Uh, there's amendments. there's there's things that's going to prohibit all that to be legal. However, redlining is real. You know, redlining is real, and there's a cat in Kansas City that is the grandfather of it. You know, like J.C. Nichols invented that crap. You know, so redlining is a real thing, and so if they can district it off, you know, they'll still have their own white town. You know, because they just won't allow black people to live there. And if you do happen to get in, right, your house is going to be burglarized, it's going to be vandalized, it's going to have all kinds of graffiti written on it. They're probably going to burn it down. And if you are in it, oh well. That's just how it's going to be. Because just like the olden time sundown towns, part of how they maintained it was through intimidation and violence. There you have it. So, what else? Um, that is pretty much the sundown town part of it. Let me see. Make sure I don't have anything else that I wanted to get into. Nope, that's it. uh, so I mean, let's not overlook the history of this nation. You know, let's not let's just not do it. You know, if you are black or brown, your head needs to be on a swivel nowadays. You know, especially in certain towns, you need to Google that because it's whole maps that'll tell you, you know, what's going on. Pay attention to what's going on. You know, just pay attention to what's going on. Like uh shooting this documentary, if I decide to go to Springfield, Illinois, I keep wanting to say Springfield, Illinois, because it's on that doggone map. If I choose to go to Springfield, Missouri, to shoot that part of uh, the racist state of Missouri, trust it is going to be a caravan. I'm not going there alone. Trust, trust and believe that. Um, um, but yeah, so what else? On to another note. So that's the whole history lesson between the Black Massacres, the Sundown Towns, uh, the return to the land movements and whatnot or whatever. And so just be careful. But on a whole nother note, I plan to, in the future of Notoriously Opinionated, starting next week, is my hope to have the first debate show. So I want to start debating on Notoriously Opinionated. And when I say I don't mean just me. Like, I want to have a debate show podcast. And here's kind of the format that I'm thinking of right now. I'm just going to moderate most of the time. There are going to be times to where I am part of the debate. There's going to be times to where I have a guest or a couple of guests debating me, right? But for the most part, it's going to be debates between it's going to be four individuals. Uh, they are going to be told what the debate topics are, and they're going to be paired off at random, right? And so these two are going to debate each other, and then these two are going to debate each other. The winner of this debate will go against the winner of this debate. The loser of this debate will go against the loser of this debate, right? Hold on, that might be too much. One, two, no. If you lose, you out. It's one and done. So the winner of this debate will go against the winner of this debate. They will have a final debate, and then the winner of that debate is the night's champion. Uh, I might see about, you know, prizes for the champion. See if I can get a sponsor to donate a gift card or something. We're gonna see. But yeah, that's my idea. And so the debate topics, I'm gonna tell you right now, the debates are gonna be controversial. Now, here's back to our sponsor for this evening, Perspective. Uh Controversial means different things to different people, you know. Like, for example, at my job, we've been debating the top five NBA players of all time, and that has been controversial, you know. Um, because I'm dealing with young dudes who left Michael Jordan off of the list completely. I can't talk basketball with you no more. I just I just can't. You know what I'm saying? You named five dudes that's on the all-time great list ahead of Michael Jordan. I can't talk to you about basketball no more. I just can't. So it's liable to be things like that. So some of them will be light-hearted controversy. Your top this in sports, your top that in sports, your favorite this in culture, your favorite that in culture, music, movie, entertainment, you know, things like that. There will be topics like that, but there's also going to be topics like uh far more controversial topics that are like those hot button topics: politics, Trump, the president. And when I say the president, I mean presidents of the past, uh, political parties, culture. You know, like, do you honestly, um, like, what do you rock with? You know, it's gonna be things like that. It's gonna be talking about uh, things like, what is a woman, what is a man. Uh, it's gonna go, you know. And if these are things that you would like to debate, if these are things you have a notorious opinion about, let me know. Uh, Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up whenever you see these things, and then we can. I'll be putting these shows together. I plan to do at least one a month, unless this particular segment blows up. If these kind of shows are something that you want to see, and you want to hear the differing perspectives and comment on these perspectives on Notoriously Opinionated, then I'll end up doing at least two a month, right? At least. Uh, I still want to leave a show open to where I could do things like this, to where it's just me. I don't have any guests. I don't have any debaters. I don't have anything. It's just me relaying what I have up here and trying to give it to you. Uh, and then I want to leave at least one more week just to have regular guests, no debate, no nothing. Uh, it may be more of an interview, because I do want to do one interview. So here's my idea. 1 week solo dolo. 1 week an interview with someone from Kansas City, someone from elsewhere. Just I just want to do an interview. Then 2 weeks of debate. That's kind of how I want the format of the show to go from now on. So I'm gonna work on that, and I'm see if I can get everything worked out. I've got people already hitting me up saying that they would want to be a part of the debate shows. So I appreciate those of you who have already hit me up. Salute to you, appreciate it. But if you are just now seeing this and hearing about the debate shows and you think it'll be something that you want to do, I've had some people like, nah, I'm not really a debater. I like sports, but I don't know enough about it to debate, or I'm not vocal enough to be able to debate. Cool, just watch the show. Just watch it, you know, um, and we'll go from there. All right. So if you would like to be a guest on Notoriously Opinionated, let me know, and we'll find the right show for you. All right. Anything else? Hey, hit, hey, hit real quick, like real quick. There's things that we say now in modern times, like in the 2000s, that if you were to say these same things like 40, 50 years ago, it would be a whole different understanding the situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I told you right now, all right, so I need you to go to social media, I need you to go to all my channels, I need you to push all my buttons. That means something different now in the TikTok, Instagram, Facebook era than it did years ago. If you told somebody, hey, I need you to push all my buttons, they're gonna be like, why you just want me to piss you off? Because that's what that meant back then. If you said, man, I got 100 people following me, that meant something different. That meant something different in the 90s than it do now. You had 100 people following you, boy, you better be strapped. That means something different now than it did back in the day. All right. So I always find that comical. But yeah, but we in 2025. Hey, push all my buttons on. So I'm Scrap the Film Guru on pretty much everything. So on Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, on everything. I'm Scrap the Film Guru. THA. I'm Scrap the Film Guru on all social media platforms. Follow me if you're not hit or push all my buttons. You're not gonna piss me off. It's all good. I understand. Appreciate you. But next week, I'm pretty much trying to put together this debate. I pretty much got it together. I pretty much the debate show is more than likely going to happen next week. Just it's going to happen. I got people lined up already for the debate show. It's just about what they're going to debate and what grouping of people, because it's a few people that hit me up that actually want to do the debate show. I just don't know what the topic is going to be yet. I haven't narrowed that down yet, but I'm gonna work on that tonight. Because little do you know, like immediately after the show, I'll start working on next week's show. I'll be working on the show all doggone week, but at least the 48 hours following the show, I normally am working on next week's show. So it's like my boy David Arnold said, it's not for the weak. But I appreciate everybody that tuned in tonight. Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, Notoriously Opinionated, welcome. If you've been rocking with the kid for the last 4 years that I've been doing this show, Damn, it do not seem like I've been doing this show for 4 years. It's been 4 or 5 years I've been doing this show. Uh, I've taken a couple of hiatuses, but I've been doing this show for the better part of 4 years, 4 or 5 years. And if you've been rocking with me for that long, hey, I appreciate you. Uh, my okay, one more thing, real quick. Uh, on TikTok, has anybody ever not been able to? Uh, has anybody ever not been able to? What? This is empty. Have anybody ever not been able to follow back and it says following others too frequently, try again later? Like, I've had a plethora of people that have been following me, right? Like, I've been following all the trends. I promise you, a week ago, I had like 150 followers on TikTok. And currently I got 822. So over the last week, I done got hundreds of of followers on TikTok. Just listening to the people that know what they talking about. I'm telling you, all I'm doing is listening to what the people that got a lot of followers tell me, and I follow that to the T. But I haven't experienced this before because people are it's not letting me follow people back for some reason. I don't know. It's saying that I'm following back too much. I was told that they trying to make sure I'm not a bot that's just following people, but I don't know. We're gonna see. But tune in next week to Notoriously Opinionated. It's gonna be another great show. We gonna pop up. I apologize for the 30-minute delay, but I was still looking up some stuff and researching some stuff and trying to figure out how I was gonna bring it to you. Uh, but tune in next week. Notoriously Opinionated. Same ish. Notorious time. Same notorious channel. Until then, peace. I'm out. Kinda. In a minute, I will be. Peace.